Welcome into the Triple Play Fantasy Football Show. Let's go. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the podcast. Welcome into another episode of the Triple Play Fantasy Football Show, a proud member of Fantasy Points and the Fantasy Points Media Group. If you act fast and use code TriplePlay22, you will get access to all the great tools over at fantasypoints.com. And while you're over there visiting the tools, of course, they have a bunch of great shows that they do every single week, not just our podcast. There's a bunch of great podcasts. You have the Underdog Fantasy Picks, part of the Extra Points show. You have the NFL DFS main slate that's hosted by the Dynasty Sons over there and Jake Tribby of Fantasy Points. You also have the midweek mailbag that our buddy Nick Script hosts, P2W Fantasy on Twitter. Just a ton of great shows that, again, I could sit here for hours listening to you guys, the daily lineup here every single week. So make sure you visit fantasypoints.com. Back at you another week here. I
finally said the code once.
I just have to start saying it 20 times so you guys don't do that to me. Our buddy Albert checking in. Albert's always a consistent one out around here. I like when he's always here. It makes the show better. Johnny Foosball, Doc here tonight. No Brad Stradamus as we are into week 4. Fellas, how are we feeling? How are our fantasy teams looking, Johnny?
I'm looking really good. So, I mean, I'm better than Eric in all of our similar leagues. So that's all you ask for.
All of our similar leagues. We're in one league together.
We're in one. We're in better than you in the guillotine, and I have a better record than you in the Scott Fish Bowl. So that's
what's your record in the Scott Fish Bowl?
5-1, baby.
Well, that's good. That's good.
What are you? Did you see your standings, Johnny? What are you in the standings?
Oh, overall, I don't know, but I have like high 500s or something scores.
So you look to see that you're better than me, but not to see.
Yeah, I even had to Safari doesn't let you click Control F. I had to find a weird way to search your name because there's a lot of people on there.
John, you want me to see what you are in the standings? Because if you're 5-1 and you have over 500 points scored, you're probably actually up pretty high.
Well, you can do it in the meantime while we listen to Eric.
Okay, fair enough. Eric, how are you doing? How are your squads doing so far here?
You know, most of them are pretty good. I have a win in at least every league in the upper tier of points scored, and not in the punishment bowl of any league so far. Knock on wood.
I like it. So, give an update on the Triple Play where everybody stands here. Our buddy Chris Sanzo, part of the Triple Play Fantasy Network here, he's in 254th place. Myself, I'm next in 272nd place, 4-2 record, 508 point score. I lost a heartbreaker to a very good friend of mine, Megan Schaup, who's a really good DFS mine. She's in my division. We were both undefeated. Jacob Dunn next, 595th place. Then we have Z2, 917th place. Then we have Doc, 1,021st place. Then we have the Brad Stradamus, 1,054th place. Then we have our buddy Zach, FF Tula Batman, in 1,837th. And then Alex Mateo, 1,889th. Johnny, what did you put as your thing?
Johnny Foosball.
But you don't have it under Triple Play.
I think I do. Oh, well.
No, it's not. I typed in that at the search bar. Hold on. Found you. It is. You have it as Triple Play Fantasy, not Triple Play Fantasy.
Oh.
You are in 112th place. So you actually are the tops of all Triple Play. 112. Keep in mind, there's over 3,000
I was going off our Twitter handle. That's why I said Trip Play.
There we go. It's over 3,000 people in this right now. Johnny's in 112th place, so he's making big waves there. Nice job. The other league that I'm in, and I think, Doc, you're in, is the XFT league that Des Bryant and Scott Fish and the Personnel Corner put together. I'm in first place in that league. First place overall after 3 weeks. I was really excited to see that notification when I saw it later when I was at work today. And I think there's like 1,000 people in that one. So that was exciting. So triple play representing well in all these industry fantasy leagues here. Now I got to ask you guys, week 3, did you have a wow moment, Doc, that stuck out to you? What was a wow moment for you?
So the wow moment, the first one is never think that a pick is safe in a survivor pool, i.e. Chiefs over Colts. The Chiefs just can't beat the Colts. But another wow moment is the Eagles themselves. And obviously they're 3-0. They're the only undefeated team in the NFC. But when you look at how they're beating people, last year Jalen Hurts had 2 games with over 300 plus passing yards. He has that in 2 out of the first 3 games. The Eagles have a different leading receiver each game with A.J. Brown week 1, Dallas Goedert week 2, Devonta Smith week 3. They've allowed 15 points the last 2 games on defense. They look by far the best team in the NFC, and I think it's going to be really tough for anyone to unseed them. Jalen Hurts is going to get paid.
MVP candidate right now. You could argue him and Lamar Jackson are the 2 MVP frontrunners. And if I had to pick one today, I feel like Hurts is the winner with the team undefeated. And I think if I'm not mistaken, his completion percentage right now through 3 games, 67%, 7% above his career average of 60 that he's had so far up to his career. So he's really throwing the ball better, obviously running a ton, looking completely awesome on the field. Johnny, what about you? What was your wow moment?
It was 2, but safeties are back. We had a butt punt safety,
Yep.
and we had a little Dan Orlovsky walk outside the end zone safety situation again. And it's fun. It's fun to watch, and it's something that you're going to see for years to come, and it's going to be on, end of year, not top 10s. It's going to be end of decade, not top 10s with the butt punt and just walking out of the end zone.
Yeah. The butt punt was something I think wasn't talked about too much until like hours later when people figured out what actually happened. But what's the most surprising thing about that is it seemed like he got hurt. Like, can you imagine someone punting the ball that hard going right in your butt? Like, I would be hurting. Like, the dude just literally didn't seem like it fazed him. Am I the only one surprised by that?
I think every football player gets hit by a lot worse, David.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that's been stuck out to me is just the ineptitude of the Broncos. Through 3 weeks, they are.
Well, they're playing the Raiders next week, so they'll get it all sorted out just in time for week 4.
Loser of that game is in full-on panic mode, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, I didn't think it would be time to fire McDaniels after 5 weeks, but they'll lose to the Chiefs, and if they're 0-5, then you have to.
I'm shocked. What's the biggest thing with the Raiders right now, Johnny? Like, I only see highlights. But...
And it's honestly, if you change a couple plays, they're 2-1 and nobody's talking about it. They had a fumble to win the game in overtime, and the Cardinals, they were basically in field goal range, or a 56-yarder fumbled it. They kicked that field goal and win. That's a win. And Darren Waller had a touchdown go off his hands for a pick. And this game that they lose by 2 points. So, I mean, it's fine margins, and that's the NFL, baby. But yeah, it's panic mode because of 2 plays. Otherwise, they'd be 2-1.
I'm pretty sure I heard this the other day that the Raiders in the first half are outscoring teams by 20 points so far through 3 weeks, but they're being outscored by 13 in the second half. And so all their losses have been close, 1-score games, because they're playing so well in one of the 2 half, or pretty much in the first half, and then in the second half they're not coming out.
They only play one half. Against the Titans, they only played a second half. Against the Chargers, they only played a second half. Against the Cardinals, they only played a first half. So it's fine margins, but if they steady the ship, then who knows? If they beat the Broncos and then the Chiefs, they're 2-3 and everybody's happy again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how how they'll be able to hopefully put things together. That whole AFC West, people were calling the best division of all time.
Should have known it was too much hype, and
Yep.
this is what always happens. There's no such thing as a team of destiny.
That's right. Let's look ahead to week 4 then. Let's talk just a little bit fantasy wise. Look into week 4. If you guys want to hear about waiver wire pickups, of course, check out the Tripwire that goes live every Monday night and then is in your podcast feed Tuesday morning. They went in depth with all the pickups, but I want to ask you guys, if Khalil Herbert is the starter this week, where are you ranking him? I think he's a top 10 back going against the New York Giants, who just gave up over
178 rushing yards to Zeke and Pollard.
Yeah, I mean,
you gotta rank him even if David Montgomery goes at this point. I mean, he's going to be limited regardless.
Yeah, I think if the Bears are smart, I mean, I heard Dr. David Chow today said they thought it was a high ankle sprain for Montgomery, which usually means a couple week absence. And Khalil Herbert at that point, again, he's a top 10 play, and I believe they play another really good team.
So I did a Khalil Herbert video today.
Let me plug that for you, Doc. You want to hear more about Khalil Herbert? Check that out on the Triple Play Fantasy YouTube channel. Doc broke everything down that we're going to touch on in 2 seconds here. So go ahead really quick, Doc.
Yeah, so the Giants this week, then the Vikings, who have given up 48 points the last 2 games, then the Commanders, who have given up 82 through 3 games. Khalil Herbert has 33 rushing attempts on the year. To put it in context, Justin Fields has 45 pass attempts. Khalil Herbert, 30.9 fantasy points last week. He's shown some burst. They're going to give him the ball. David Montgomery is in a contract year, and this is a new regime. So I think even when Montgomery is healthy, this is a 1A, 1B backfield. I'm typically not a big fab spender, but I would spend up to 30, 40% on him.
It'd be interesting to see if Montgomery was out for a long period of time. Then I think people would throw like 80%. But like you said, we're not sure about when his return is going to be.
Some of the sly people had him on their team already.
So we got a couple of questions. Let's talk about those. Half PPR. What do I got to change? I have Carr, Aaron Jones, Chubb, Sutton. I'm assuming that's Mike Evans, Dallas Goedert, Kareem Hunt, Juju Thielen, Claypool, Edmonds, Kenneth Walker, Elijah Moore.
Who are we cutting? Are we starting? How many?
So obviously he only listed one quarterback right there.
Who's not having a good season.
Derek Carr has been a huge disappointment. I would love to see who your waiver wire options are there. Aaron Jones and Chubb, studs. Sutton and Evans are going to be fine as your wide receivers. Goddard's a good tight end. Kareem Hunt's a solid flex, and he can switch it out between Juju and Thielen. Edmonds right now, his snaps are going down every single week. And that's a problem because Raheem Mostert's taking more work. I have Edmonds in a couple leagues, and I'm basically putting him on my bench right now. He had 2 touchdowns that bailed him out this past week, but he's not getting the usage we thought. Chase Claypool, to me, is a drop. I don't know how you guys feel about it.
I'm too invested in him to drop him.
I mean, if it's a 12-team league, 10 or 12-team league, I'm okay dropping him. What
I'm just always scared when you drop someone like that. Somebody's obviously gonna pick him up because of his name value, and then if he ever turns it around, you're gonna look silly. But you can't be worried about looking silly.
Who would, if you had to drop someone out of this group, would it be Claypool for you guys? Because I'm keeping Kenneth Walker in case Penny goes down, and Elijah Moore I think has better days ahead.
I would cut Elijah Moore because you don't know the uncertainty with the quarterback situation. They're trying to get Claypool the ball. They're giving him rushing attempts. Now, if we're talking about who we're going to start, I might just sub out, if this is a PPR or this half PPR, I would put in Thielen over Kareem Hunt this week. Facing the Saints in London, you figure Marshawn Lattimore will follow Justin Jefferson or at least cover him a good amount, maybe if he doesn't shadow. They only caught a touchdown last week. I think the Vikings are desperate for a win too. So
fair enough. That'd be interesting. It's going to be really early. So make sure you have your lineup set. I believe it's 9:30 Eastern time. The game starts. Yeah. So just make sure you have those lineups set early because you don't want to oversleep and miss leaving somebody in there when you didn't mean to, or miss putting someone in your lineup that you meant to. Albert asks, who would you rather rank higher this week? Khalil Herbert or Jamal Williams? Jamal Williams, the Lions are going against I know it's a good matchup. It is.
They
both have a good matchup. It's
the Lions are going against the Seahawks. Yeah. I like Khalil Herbert more this week, assuming Montgomery's out. I think Jamal Williams is a solid flex play, but I think Khalil Herbert could be a high-end RB2, low-end RB1. That's what I think his ceiling could be. What do you guys think? Who would you rather play?
I'm rolling with Herbert either way. I mean, Jamal Williams had 20 for 87 and 2 touchdowns last week, but I definitely think that this is a Jared Goff game.
Well, I think that's sort of when you look at what kind of lead do you think the teams can put up? Do we think the Bears get to a big enough lead to run the clock out, or do we think Jamal Williams just gets a lot of garbage time carries because DeAndre Swift will be out?
Well, so if you had to make that call, Johnny, we have 2 for Khalil Herbert. Who would you pick?
I'll pick Jamal Williams, and the fun part is I have both of these guys in our league, Eric.
Embarrassment of riches now.
I mean, and the thing is, Williams hasn't been as great a receiving back, and that's where Craig Reynolds might step in. Like, I do think Jamal Williams has a larger workload, but I don't think he's a bell cow that we expect him to be.
Now, Grant asks, should I start Michael Thomas? First, Grant, I don't know if we've ever seen you before, so welcome into the chat. Appreciate you joining the show. Should he start Michael Thomas? I think from what I've read, he's very questionable to play this week. I would love to know your other options, Grant, because I'm probably avoiding playing him at this point, especially with Chris Olave having back-to-back weeks with an over 30% target share, looking like he's the go-to guy right now in this offense. He's the downfield threat that Jameis wants to throw to. 150-plus yards last week, so I would avoid him, again, depending on your other options. What do you guys
think? About the uncertainty of Jameis also. Jameis has fractures in his back. Like, if for some reason Andy Dalton has to sub in mid-game, you significantly downgrade him.
Yeah. Johnny, what do you think for Michael Thomas?
Michael Thomas hasn't really showed anything that would make me want to start him healthy or otherwise, really, for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have a tough decision sitting even a limited Michael Thomas on my bench.
Okay. I like it. The next question here from Jack. Again, Jack, thanks for joining the show, man. I don't know if you've been around here before, but thanks for popping in here. Who can I get for Antonio Gibson? I need him out. Need to get him out before Robinson returns. Right now, Antonio Gibson's value, I think, was at a peak a couple weeks ago. I think now
right after the injury.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're looking, are you looking for another running back? Or are you looking for a receiver? I think in terms of running backs, you're probably looking at guys like. Do you think you could get Kareem Hunt for him?
No.
I always think same position trades are tough because you just have to find such an imbalance in what people think each player is worth to make a trade seem worthwhile to either party. You're pretty much limited to getting a wide receiver, a tight end.
Yeah, because it's almost like, why am I giving you this running back for another one of the same position? I obviously value the one I'm trading for higher. I think if you can maybe package him with someone, if 1-for-1 running back, I'm thinking like a Ramondre Stevenson.
That would be a good one. What about, let me ask you guys this. Who would you rather have, Garrett Wilson or Antonio Gibson?
PPR?
Yeah.
Garrett Wilson.
Would you guys try to see if you could trade them? Because that might be able to.
But if you need a running back, though, I would keep Gibson. I think it depends on how your team looks because running back is a more scarce position.
Yeah. So just a couple of guys. And Jack, if you ever have questions too, we have our Twitter handles in our bottom of the screen when the questions are off screen. You can always DM the account, any of us on the show too, with rosters. We'll answer those. Our buddy Rig checking in. What's up, TPF family? Our guy Rig, always fun having him part of the show. He says you should be able to get Jamal Williams for Gibson.
I don't think so.
I think you would be able to.
Not with the hype going on.
No.
I don't know. I mean, Jamal Williams is going to be the starter the next 2 weeks, and then he's just a touchdown dependent flex because he's not getting a ton of yards when
he still leads the league in touchdowns, though.
Are you going to bang on that every week?
Are you going to bang on Antonio Gibson getting goal line touchdowns with 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter?
I mean, so you'd rather have Jamal Williams rest of season than Antonio Gibson is what you're saying?
Yes.
I'd rather have Antonio Gibson rest of season.
Okay.
And then Johnny is indifferent.
I mean, I'm gonna be slanted towards Jamal Williams because I have him, but
Antonio Gibson
fair enough.
Antonio Gibson has gotten 2 late touchdowns to salvage fantasy days.
Yeah. And Rick says, Johnny, Michael Thomas has been balling before he got injured.
I know. I misspoke. Sometimes you got to admit when you're wrong.
That's it. You do a lot of things that most people in this industry don't do, so I respect that. Let's talk about some lines here. We're going to use FanDuel Sportsbook, and I was logged out of my account, so I'm logging back in. You guys are going to see me log in live on this show if you're watching on YouTube. You wouldn't want to miss that, right? You don't want to miss me logging back in on you. I think I'm in. All right. So we are going to switch over to FanDuel Sportsbook instead of the Caesar Sportsbook because I consistently use FanDuel Sportsbook every single week. So it's going to be bets that I'm actually placing here. Grant does add before we can continue. Nobody in my league wants a trade for Michael Thomas. So who's a good pickup on waiver other than Olave? Right now, I would love to see if is Garrett Wilson a free agent, Khalil Herbert. Jamal Williams is a top free agent this week, a pickup.
John, this
Traylon-
is your chance to plug Zay Jones.
Oh, I had him for a later segment, but our player to watch. But yeah, Zayman. Everybody does love him. He's looking like he could be the new number 2 receiver. And at this point, that Jags offense looks great.
Yeah. So John, for those that have just been starting to follow the show recently, John has been the biggest. I was about to call him Zayman. Zay Jones.
I'm a Zaniac over here.
I love it. I love it. Look at that. John has been on him before anybody else was. He's finally balling out, late career resurgence. I'm surprised
2 years, 2 or 3 years I've been talking up Zay.
When is the jersey coming? You got to wear it like on a show. But yeah, he'd be a great one. Treylon Burks is another one. I think that would be a good pickup if he's out there. And Rick says water bet Jamal Williams for. I was on the Gibson side, so I think flip me and Doc, and we have a good water bet. Rig keeps our water bets, track of them in our Discord, which you guys can check out if you check the link in the description of the video. And he says best bets: Rams underdog against 49ers. Got to get that money in. You guys have Rams over 49ers, correct? I do. Which is one of the things we would go over. Doc, you're a 49ers fan. Do you have that as well?
I don't know. We always beat the Rams except for the NFC Championship game. It's crazy.
I don't know, man. Without Trent Williams there and how bad Jimmy G looked.
It doesn't matter who's playing for us. We somehow always beat them.
Let's look at the Thursday night matchup. Let's start this out here. So we start out right now. The sportsbook, the FanDuel Sportsbook has, let me go to the spread here. The Bengals are 3.5-point favorites at home.
You got to zoom in on your screen a little bit, Davey. Like some sort of like.
How's that?
Or even like Control Plus it or something, so it just zooms in on the web page.
Just, you know what, Johnny, just for you, I'll do that.
Yeah, because we don't need to see everything to the right.
Here, I'll full screen it. Okay, can you see that better? Or
sure.
Still? If not, let me zoom.
Keep Control Plusing it, dude.
Jeez, that's so close. All right, how about now?
Well, now it's too big.
Oh my god! All right, so Bengals are 3.5-point favorites. Are you guys taking the 3.5 points for the Bengals? I am, with Teddy Bridgewater probably starting.
Yes.
I mean, are we certain that Teddy Bridgewater is going to start?
If there's contingency, Teddy Bridgewater plays.
You got to lock it in now. I'm taking the Bengals.
I'd take him if Teddy Bridgewater plays, but I have a feeling Tua is going to play in the game.
Okay.
He's not in concussion protocol or anything.
So John, you like the over then too. The over under for this game being 47.5. You like do you like the over with Tua?
No, I think the under's fine because I think Tua has a good game and the Bengals are stymied by this Miami defense.
Okay. I'm going to go the under with Thursday Night Football. It's always the under. Bet the under on Thursday Night Football. Let's look at some anytime touchdown scores here. So anyone that catches your eye in terms of somebody that might be a dart throw here?
A dart throw is the only fun way to do it. Like
that's what I'm saying. So
no one wants to predict a Tyreek Hill touchdown. That's not.
Tyler Boyd just got one of his 3 touchdowns last week, so I don't think he can get it back.
Samaje Perine at plus 210.
Hayden Hurst isn't bad
at plus 360. Do you guys want to make a Thursday night anytime touchdown call here?
Well, let's go Hayden Hurst.
Chris Evans.
I don't even know if he's going to be on here.
I think he is. Maybe you skipped.
Ooh, an Alec Ingold one would be nuts.
You want to call that, John? A plus?
Yeah, I'll call that actually.
Alex Ingold plus 1,500. I'm gonna go a Miami Dolphins defensive touchdown plus 850 because their defense has been lethal and Burrow has been turning the ball over.
I like that, Davey.
And
going Perine.
You're going with Perine at plus 210. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we got our.
Oh, look at David's account. $5.
Yeah, I had a big win a couple weeks ago, so I cashed out on that, and then I put in
sure.
And then I lost both my bets yesterday, so I got to put more money in the account. Do you guys? He says, Albert, do you guys see the over/under for Browns versus Falcons? So, while that's the question, let's pull that up for you. Browns versus Falcons. I believe that's going to be.
That's going to be an ugly game.
Yeah, that's going to be. All right. Over under is 49.5.
Wow, that's higher than the. Wow.
I think it's got to be
definitely
under, right?
on that one.
It's got to be the under.
It has to be.
Like Cleveland plays efficient, but they're not putting up a ton of points right now, and Mariota plays inefficient.
Yeah,
but he does get some points here and there.
Oh, Riggs going the over on this one.
I'm going the under on it, but I do like Browns at -1.5.
I do too. I think that's an awesome line for them. -1.5 for the Browns. We all on that train?
No, because I'm not going to root for them at all this season.
But they don't have Watson playing yet.
So they still signed him. They're still the team that signs him.
Let me ask you guys, Jacksonville.
You're not going to root for Jacoby Brissett?
I
do like Jacoby Brissett.
Let me ask you guys, Jacksonville at Philly. Philly right now looks the best team in the NFC. Jacksonville's been surprising at 2-1, 6.5-point favorites for the Eagles. What do you guys think? This one's interesting.
I'd only do the over. I honestly wouldn't want to risk any garbage time Jacksonville points to ruin the spread.
Yeah, this is a tough. We should talk about ones we like instead of ones we're uncertain about.
Okay. Pittsburgh and the Jets. I think that one's a wash. I don't like that. Do you guys like maybe bet the under? But I don't like.
Let me tell you one I do like.
Go ahead.
The Texans +5 over the Chargers. I think it's it's +5.5 on here. I think the Chargers are a namesake at this point. I mean, they've been destroyed by injuries. They're going to be without Bosa this week. They just lost Slater for the season. They just lost Jalen Guyton. Keenan Allen is practicing, but they're not saying if he's going to play yet. Herbert is still banged up. The Texans lost by 3 last game to the Bears, but it was a bad interception by Davis Mills at the end. And they were beating the Broncos in the fourth quarter before losing 16-9. And they tied the first week. So I think +5.5 at home with a banged up Chargers defense. I love that for the Texans.
Oh, Doc is a big Texans fan this week.
And I saw Patriots +10, which seemed outrageous to me. I know that Mac Jones is out, but it's not like he was going to lead them to a lot of points anyway. I think
it's not him. It's that Brian Hoyer is starting.
Yeah, but I mean,
+10.
The quarterback was never the strength of the Patriots team. The Packers haven't looked convincing. I think the Patriots still have a good defense. I mean, they held uninjured Tua pretty well.
John, do you want to bet on this? Because I read a stat that I think Brian Hoyer has lost his last 12 games.
Oh, he can lose by 9.
And Rick says, Doc, you're spot on. Great analysis on the Chargers. Houston might upset them and take the under.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like that call. And yeah, this will be interesting. Now I'm going to watch the Patriots.
I just think if you're so bothered about Mac Jones turning into Brian Hoyer, you haven't really been watching Mac Jones.
That's right. Let's look at another game. One that stuck
Brian
out.
Hoyer can't gritty.
One that stuck out to me. Where did I see it earlier?
They have the Chiefs-Bucks. The Chiefs are -2, coming off a game where they lost, and the Bucks in kind of in that same boat. Where are you thinking they're going this week?
If it was at Tampa Bay, I would have been really nervous.
It is at Tampa Bay.
It might be in Minnesota
because of
it's they're 1.5-point favorites. That Bucks crowd is actually really. I don't think they get enough credit for how hard it is to play in that stadium against them.
I just know Brady's got Patty Mahomes' number, so
he does. It is very hard to. And for some reason Brady always gets up to play against Patrick Mahomes. I would take the Bucks at +1.5 here. Especially, I mean,
would love.
I know you would.
Patrick Mahomes to have another team that he always loses against to lose against him this week.
Johnny, your winless Raiders, the only winless team in football, hosting the Broncos. They're 2.5-point favorites. How do you feel about this one?
Honestly, I mean, the way the Broncos have looked, this is a game they should easily win. Like the Raiders have played every single game close. They've had chances to win in every single game. So I really do expect them to win and cover. But knowing that they're a team that I root for, that means Russell Wilson is going to look vintage dangerous in this game, and it's not going to be close.
Would you take the over or under 45.5?
I'd take the under because the Raiders kick field goals in the red zone, and Russell Wilson goes 3 and out.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's
But I'd rather be kicking field goals than going 3 and out.
This was the game I wanted to look at. The Ravens and the Bills. Let's finish our episode with this game. The Bills are 3-point favorites right now. I think the Bills win and cover. Is it too much of a chalky play to say this is easily going over 51.5 points?
I think it's going under.
Oh,
I just think it's going over. It might be just like you said, David, the easy pick, but I mean, they both score a lot of points.
They do. Our buddy down on the farm, great baseball mind, he was on the call up a couple weeks ago. He says, take the Broncos and the under. So he's with you on the under, Johnny, but he's going the Broncos in this one. And
well, it's good because NBA Rigged thinks I picked the Broncos, so I did a good job of fence sitting on that pick.
And he has the Raiders beating the Broncos. Anyone with me or
you know
with
what?
Johnny.
I trust him. Let's go, baby.
So,
don't disappoint me 4 weeks in a row.
Rigged and Johnny are on the Raiders. I'm on the Broncos in this one.
I'm on the Broncos also.
We're split.
Oh, well, seeing David's account, it's even got me more after the Raiders.
I'm going to I hope I win a huge bet. I'm just going to leave it in there just to show you. I now have motivation. Grant says, we'll finish with this here. Will Derrick Henry have a repeat performance? I think he had 20-something carries for 80 yards and a touchdown this past week. If it was something like that.
I know he had a lot of receiving yards as well.
No, he will not. Book it right here. I'm going to say this right here, Grant. I'm not sure about a lot of things, but I'm very sure about the Colts run defense. The Colts run defense just held CEH to 7 carries for 0 yards, and they've been doing it all season to all the running backs they've played. They might be the best run defense in football right now. Do not expect a big game from Derrick Henry.
Did you just compare Derrick Henry to CEH?
No, I'm just saying they've been the best run defense in football through 3 weeks. If Derrick Henry has 100 yards or more in this game, I will wear something embarrassing on the stream next week. I don't even know what it would be.
100 rushing yards or total yards?
100 rushing yards.
Okay. I want to make a quick note about the Bills-Ravens. The last time they played in the AFC Championship game, the Bills won 17-3. They have a really good run defense. I know that they've had a lot of injuries, but they match up well with the Ravens. What I would do is if I was betting this game, I think it's going to be a slow start because it's going to be really physical. Both teams, I think, want to win after last week. I know the Ravens did win themselves. But I would live bet once it goes down a little bit because I could see both teams having big plays in the second half. They can score quickly, but I do think it starts out slow.
I mean, the Ravens haven't even been running it that well except for Lamar Jackson specifically.
The Ravens' pass defense is so bad.
I'm not really worried about the rushing offense needing to take over.
I didn't know Rig was a Raiders fan. Did you guys know that?
I did.
I don't know. I forgot.
I don't know if he is. It might just be his pick.
It's my Raiders, so I don't know. It's so big. All right, let's run through a couple of things real quick here. Actually, went a little longer, but it's always good when you guys bring questions, so I want to make sure we don't leave you neglected here. Rig says, what's your guys' favorite play of the season so far? Any insane catches? The George Pickens catch.
That was mine.
Yeah, easy. I think that one's easy. That's the best catch I've seen in the last couple of years. Greg says, Tua, Goff, Trevor Lawrence, Mariota this week. Need to stream one of them. I can't start Lawrence against the Eagles.
Can't start Tua.
Why can't you start Trevor against the Eagles?
The Eagles have been, I tweeted this out today. The Eagles are the only team in the NFL with double-digit sacks, an under 60% completion percentage,
They
under
still
70.
gave up 40. They still gave up 40 to the Lions and Goff.
Under 70 QBR. They get so many turnovers against the team, and they're going to sack the quarterback so many times. I'm really worried about Trevor Lawrence.
How much of those QB rating stats are skewed by Kirk Cousins' nightmare game?
But they also destroyed Carson Wentz too.
We're not helping them out. We're just debating why each other is wrong. For me, I'm going Goff. Once again, I think they are going to run a little bit more, or they'll pass a little bit more with Jamal Williams out. Craig Reynolds is more of a receiving back. And just from an implied total, the Lions have the highest projected over-under for this week.
Yeah,
so
I'm with you on Goff, Doc. I think that's the play here. I would go as well. Down the farm says, take all the Saquon Barkley overs over against the Bears. I'm with that as well. And Rigged is a Deontay Johnson fan in terms of his catch being the best of the year so far. So that we got through a lot. Talked about some bets. We're going to do the screen sharing tool a lot more often here. I think that's a lot more fun way to look at the bets rather than just our faces the entire time. But we try to keep this show 30 minutes every week. So if you guys are enjoying it, first-time viewers, we are live here 6:30 p.m. Eastern time every single Tuesday, talking about fantasy and then talking about betting. 30 minutes in and out, answering questions, all that good stuff for you. So if you're enjoying it, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel and make sure you guys pop in here every week. We'd love to keep interacting with you. Doc and Johnny are always pumping out good stuff on the YouTube channel as well. Doc dropped a Khalil Herbert video today, dropped a Raheem Mostert one last week. Johnny's got some amazing movie minutes and some power hours he's dropped here too. So you can check that out on the YouTube channel. And just come be a part of the fun. Join the Discord, join the YouTube channel. We appreciate all you guys. But for Doc, for Johnny, I'm D. Mendy. We'll catch you guys next week. But remember, we're going to make like a bread truck and we're going to haul these buns. See you guys next time.
Back by popular demand.